one of the best roguelikes for honestly a couple years now, has just got even better thanks to a 2.0 update and DLC, and that's Astral Ascent. If you've been on this channel for a while, you know I'm a huge fan of this game, and every time they do an update, I revisit it. This is the case today, where the 2.0 update and DLC has launched. We have a bunch of new areas and a new boss in the DLC, and then there's like a content update alongside that, which is some quality of life, a new spell system, and a bunch of other stuff. So we'll first start off with the actual DLC portion. So this is the part that you have to actually pay for, which is similar to other roguelikes that introduce new biomes in the game. There are new separate biomes for every single stage. Remember, these are Zodiacs, so you go through earth signs, then fire signs, then water signs, then is it lightning signs? I have no idea what the other one is. But anyway, there's a second biome for each individual one, and the devs have even tried to put in a system where 2 of those choices will also have a bonus incentive to it, where you get either like Aura World or Echo World, and then the other one is a different kind of split. But now you have some options, which is honestly one of the first complaints some people have about the game, is doing that same first biome. The new first biome is actually really cool looking. If you're brand new to the game, you will only be able to access this after you beat the first win of the game. So Destiny level 1 gives you access to the new areas. The new fire biome has a bunch of new lava traps in it. In fact, besides just that we have new biomes with a bunch of new monsters in them, each biome has different new traps and interactables as well. The third biome, which is the new water one, this one has giant snowballs that are honestly like kind of dangerous. I've gotten hit quite a bit by these things, and they do a lot of damage if you have the trap modifier turned up. And then the final biome, which is the lightning one, this one's actually, I almost feel like not as bad as the first one. I actually like to come here because the monsters feel a lot more manageable. But in any case, like everything is still pretty dangerous. But you do get access to the Aura World, which I haven't actually seen yet, and the Echo World, which gives you the choice of any Echo in the game. Now, this is a powerful resource, so the negative to go into here is you actually lose some of your character buffs. Every time I've gone in, I've lost 5. So that could be like 2 strength, 1 armor, 2 health, or any combination. And of course, you can get those back, but keep in mind that if you went in relatively early, you might go down to 111 stats. Being able to pick any aura you want allows you to kind of like fine-tune the build a bit. Or you could go for, especially if you get it really early, you could go for like a economy play to get more currency, or you could go for a healing play to make sure that you don't die. There's a lot of different options here, and the fact that sometimes you can see this ahead of time and path towards it is actually pretty cool. The second part of the DLC is Andromeda, which is the barkeep that you see before every boss fight. Now, Andromeda has always been known to be like, I don't know if she was previously a jailer with the other Zodiacs and then she kind of like ran away, or if she was like one of these Constellar style enemies and I guess sentient enough that she can manage a bar. But in any case, she is a boss fight that you can do at any point in the game in the Andromeda bar if you have the DLC. Her fight is supposed to be very difficult. If you fail it, you do not lose the run entirely, you just lose the chance to fight her again. It pretty much goes into 2 phases. One where she's in like her main form, and then there's basically her Thanos snapping you away. And then if you survive that, you get to fight her in, I guess, phase 2 or phase 3, whatever you want to call it. The combat itself is probably most difficult because she moves a lot. So if you have a really like close range setup with no ranged attacks in it, or if your character can't teleport, for example, I find that to be like a little difficult. However, she does also hit you a lot. So there's a lot to look out for in this individual fight. If you're able to win, which as of my time recording this, I have not actually gotten a win, you will get a summonable version of Andromeda, just like all the other Zodiac summons. Sorry I don't have any footage of that. She has beaten the brakes off me every single time that I've gone in there. But I'm sure we'll have some footage of this in the future. Just keep a lookout for it. Now, on to the stuff that does not require the DLC, and that is, probably most importantly, this new spell imprint system. Now, this one is pretty interesting. As you go through the game, you'll find new biome stages to get an imprints reward. The imprints, some of them are already unlocked by default, and they include some kind of buff or new attack, and then a transcendence line. The buff or attack are many different things. For example, according to the Steam store page post, we have spellcast create incandescent barrier. First enemy hit creates frozen ground. On spellcast, 2 enemies are marked with a curse. First enemy hit by a spell creates a column of lightning. Or first enemy hit by a spell attracts other enemies. And I've had a few fire things and poison things so far, but there's a lot more according to how big this star chart is. It almost looks like a Path of Exile passive tree, but don't think of it quite like that, at least not yet. If you find any imprints, you'll be able to equip them to any spell you have. There's no elemental requirement. In fact, you can mix and match as much as you want. Really, the only thing you'll lose out on is if there's a transcendent effect for like max fire affinity or level 10 spell or something like that. Otherwise, you can just put these on whatever you want, and at Andromeda's bar, you can actually swap any of these that you've done. You can also equip ones that you didn't even choose from the imprint selection screen. It like snapshots each one you found in the individual run, and then once you get to the bar, you can mix and match and swap out any of the ones you want with no cost to it. As you play through the game, you'll also be finding blueprints, and the blueprints are used towards, I believe, your next run to be able to like find the imprint in the wild. As far as I've seen, you cannot, for example, get a blueprint and then be able to use that imprint from the star chart or whatever you want to call this. So far, all of my blueprints have been to find stuff later in a different run. The system is actually pretty cool. These do real tangible damage if you happen to find one that has the transcendent effect. There's also lots of ones that do non-damaging effects, and I think those could be pretty exciting. This kind of turns your build into something a bit more refined. You can still go with the square peg and the square hole mentality where, okay, I have fire, so I'm just gonna put a fire imprint on it. But being able to say, hey, I like this barrier, or I want to do some frozen ground, which might like work with my aura. It could simply be an aura that does like critical hit rate on frozen enemies. I don't want to fully spec into ice on my spells. I just want to be able to crit an enemy. So very cool stuff there. Then there are a bunch of quality of life improvements in the game. First off, there's some hit feel feedback. I guess people had issues with the amount of like stagger a single basic attack would do. Maybe monsters felt unresponsive to this. So now we have a little bit more hit stagger. The monsters aren't necessarily stunned, so you can't just beat anything to death like you can in some other roguelikes. But to like register the attack, it should have a lot better game feel. They also sped up some of the slower interactions. For example, drinking a potion from Andromeda's bar. If you're a little bit faster at the game, you can kind of like easily click through these. Stage selection is a little bit faster. Some of the room sizes have been reduced, so you don't run around in basically nothing for as much. However, there is still all the platforming you can recognize from the exploration zones. So all of that hasn't gone away. It's just all of the like fluff for just filling up time has been cut a little bit. And then finally, if you are a collector or if you haven't played the game at all, there are new physical editions of the game. I believe it's for PS5 and Nintendo Switch. So all of my folks out there who are PS5 fans, you now have some really cool collectible stuff that you can put on your wall. I am a PC player, so I don't have that, and I'd say this one actually looks pretty cool. So there you have it, a super quick rundown of the new stuff in Astral Ascent. I haven't even gone into the kind of builds that I've made thus far. You're gonna have to watch some of my live vids to be able to see that in action. As I said, this game is great. I will recommend it up and down. If you're a fan of anything from Hades to Dead Cells, I think this is easily gonna fill in that gap while those games have stopped their development, or while you wait for Hades 2. Or if you're not a fan of Hades 2, you might actually enjoy this one more. Other than that, I'm Veedotme. You'll probably see some Astral Ascent gameplay on my channel. Subscribe to make sure that you are notified when that stuff goes up. Leave a comment letting me know, hey, if you're a fan of the game already, what do you like to play character-wise? Alright, thanks for watching today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'd like to get you all the best content that I can. If you want to take a moment, like the video, subscribe if you want to see more, ring the bell notifications so you can get those. You could also consider supporting the channel by becoming a channel member. All of those are links which are in the description. Just scroll down and you'll see them. Either way, thanks for joining in, and I'll catch you on the next video.